Yeah. Oh, there it is. It took a long time, man. That joint is it's got volume though. I don't even know where we stopped at. Where we stopped at.
I was reading Hebrews 4, but I don't know where the sound from.
It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to figure that out. Go back to Exodus 25 and 19. Exodus 25 and 19. Now, we just heard how he said that with David or with those who came beforehand that they were not made perfect. So Exodus 25 and 19.
And make one cherub on one end and the other cherub on the other end. Of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubims on the two ends thereof. And the cherubim shall stretch forth wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings and their faces one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubims be. You shall put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark shall you put the testimony that I shall give you.
What are these cherubims doing? What purpose do they serve? They're covering the throne. Now, why did I mention that? Ezekiel 28. Tell me what verse 10 say.
You shall die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken, saith Yahuwah Elohim.
Give me the verse 14.
You, the anointed cherub that covered, and I have set you so. You was upon the Kadash Mountain of Elohim. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire.
Now back it up to 12, right? Now you heard what he called this, right? Because you know people like to say this the devil. How the devil gonna cover the throne of God? You got to be a damn fool. Literally. I'm not saying that to be facetious. Let me get there what Mika asked. She said, what if a man or woman don't have a father? How would they get married off in no time? To the oldest male relative in your family. So well, to an extent, that's like with Mordecai. Esther ain't had no parents. He was her uncle. That's how that rolled. Same thing with Lot. His daddy was dead, and Abraham took responsibility for his nephew. So that's how that goes. It's the oldest male relative in your family. Usually on your father's side, preferably. Stop. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Get on from under there. Get on from under there. Yeah, so that's pretty much how that goes. So like if your father was deceased, if your grandfather was still alive, then he would be the one to take that responsibility. You know what I'm talking about? And if your grandfather wasn't alive, then it would be your uncle. So on and so forth. After that, if you had no uncle, it'd be the eldest male cousin on your father's side. Perfect. You know what I'm talking about? That's pretty much how that rolls. Because in those times, a woman wouldn't be freelance living on her own. The people didn't operate like that in them times. You know what I'm saying? Which I know it's hard to fathom that now because we don't live anything close to that. And like I say, that's why you see a lot of female contempt for male leadership in authority. Because usually their daddy didn't have no say in the house. You know what I'm saying? And then you have women who have children and bring men in the house, and those men don't have say over those children because they're not theirs. God just told me that day, dude married a chick, he ain't know about 90 days, and she had about 4 or 5 kids. I'm like, nigga, you're a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? You listen to dudes be talking about a man knows when he knows. You believe that junk if you want to. If you marry a woman after 60 days, you deserve everything you get. You don't know that woman, man. You know what I'm saying? Same way that people feel like you shouldn't make a woman do nothing. He should wife me for me if he can't see my value. Like that's not how a man. I mean, a lot of men feel like a woman don't have to do nothing for them to marry her, and that's your business. But yeah, you should make her do something. And if she's not willing to do it, then that means that's clearly not a woman you shouldn't be entertaining as a wife. And I ain't talking about no cooking and cleaning either, man. Nobody give a damn about no cooking and cleaning, man. You cooking is not for me. That's for everybody, yourself included. You talking about you want a woman to do something that had to be something that's going to benefit the process of your progress. Because at the end of the day, if you want Yahuwah to do something for you, guess what you're going to have to do? You have to put in some work for the Lord, boy. I ain't talking about keeping no commandments either. Yeah, you're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to put in some work. But guess what he said he going to take you through, Sylvia? Furnace of affliction. He said he going to try you. He going to prove you. Once he's satisfied, then he always going to be with you. Now, see, this is the difference, right? The forgiveness, you ain't got to do nothing. That's all Yahuwah. But to be accepted of him, that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm talking about? That's a whole nother conversation. And they ain't got nothing to do with no commandment. That's got to deal with the proving out of faith. And do you believe in the vision that he laying out? You know what I'm saying? But that's a different conversation as well. Go ahead.
So you, the anointed cherub that cover, and I've set you so. You was upon the Kadash mountain of Elohim. You have
where do you ever? What's the Kadash mountain of Elohim? What is that? Don't worry. Psalms 24:1. When Satan ever been up here? Where you read Satan ever being up there? You think because Satan was in the Garden of Eden, that means he was on the Kadash mountain of Elohim? When you know that word is hard and it's hey and Raj, to behold the highest, what's Satan doing up there? Satan ain't up there. If you know in the Kadash mountain of Elohim, guess what's up there? That's the Holy of Holies. What is the adversary doing in there? Remember, he told Moses to make the tabernacle according to what? That you seen in the web. So this is the pattern and figure of that which is eternal. Where's Satan at in there? Why y'all even ascribing that to him? How can an enemy be in the most sanctified place? You got to be simple. Go ahead, man.
The earth, Yahuwah, is the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein.
Listen.
For he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods.
Come on with it.
Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahuwah?
Who shall ascend into the what?
Into the hill of Yahuwah.
Now tell him now I just told you mountain mean hard, but tell him what hill mean. Who gonna ascend into the Kadash hill of Yahuwah? Who gonna go there? Listen.
It's the same word.
Hard, which means what?
The hill, a mountain, a hill country, a mountain.
And that's symbolizing his authority. So how is Satan the adversary in the place of his authority? You know what I'm talking about? Speaking of that, I'm not sure if you mentioned it one time, but we're Adam and Satan. Oh no. Adam and Satan weren't brothers, not even close. You know what I'm talking about? Satan just didn't want to yield to the will of God and serve man. And that's it. You know what I'm talking about? He didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to do it. And I think we done went over that before. Like, he didn't want to do it. And he wanted to, which is why he get down with Esau, because Esau wanted the covenant without the faith and without the obedience. So, you know, he going to let Satan roll with Esau for a little bit and wreak havoc and then kill them all. Go ahead.
He that have clean hands and a pure heart.
Oh, you good, my G. Go ahead. He said, who will ascend into this Kadash hill?
He that have clean hands and a pure heart.
Now, how's Satan going to get in there? He got clean hands and a pure heart. So how did he get there? Go, what else?
Who have not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully.
Have this man not sworn deceitfully and lifted up his soul to vanity? But he in the mountain of God, though. Come on.
He shall receive the blessing from Yahuwah and the righteousness from Elohim of his salvation.
Go ahead.
This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek your face, O Jacob, Selah. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be you lift up, you everlasting doors, and the King of esteem shall come in.
The who of esteem?
The King of esteem shall come in.
Come on.
Who is this King of esteem? Yahuwah, strong and mighty.
That's
Yahuwah,
right.
mighty in battle.
That's right.
Lift up your heads, O you gates, even lift up, you everlasting doors, and the King of esteem shall come in.
That's right.
Who is this King of esteem? Yahuwah of hosts. He is the King of esteem.
Now go to Isaiah 2:1. Because the Isaiah 2:1 will point you to Ezekiel 44. And if that which is on earth is representative of that which is in heaven, then you know Satan wasn't there. Now, this other part that Brandon mentioned, right, along with his question. He said, do you believe that's a spiritual version of the physical? I think I mentioned that part. And he was like, well, how are we going to marry the statement of the king on his throne forever when the throne and kingdom are not in the form when they first said it? Now, I mentioned we're going to look at Hosea 3. So this is how my man put it, right? A spiritual throne, or now we waiting on a physical throne. You know what I'm saying? Now, is there going to be a physical throne that Yahushua going to sit in for his 1,000-year reign? Yes, it is. We have a multitude of verses set and rhyme, primed, and ready for that. Most of them that you're already greatly familiar with. Several in Proverbs, one specifically in Isaiah 16. Because when you look at the Exodus narrative, it's spiritual characters moving physically through the people. And in the New Testament, in the end, the spiritual characters are moving in new bodies, which is how you would frame it. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual creatures are moving in a new body. But we're not looking for a physical throne that's not coming down from heaven. You know what I'm talking about? For man to sit on. When that throne come down from heaven, ain't but one person sitting on it, and that's God himself. You remember what 1 Corinthians 15 and 22 say, that the Son will deliver up the kingdom to Elohim, and everything will be what? All in all. Because he's going to get the throne and the power and the rule back to the person who gave it to him. Because remember, he said, ask of me and I'll give you the heathen for your inheritance. And you shall rule over them with a rod of iron and break them into pieces like a potter's vessel. Or remember the parable he gave with the man in his vineyard. And he said, I'll send my son. They'll listen to him. Notice how the father in this instance, he said, I'm going to send my son. They're going to listen to him. But is it the son's vineyard? It is his vineyard because his father gave him what? Authority over it. But whose vineyard does it actually belong to? Go ahead.
The word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Yehuda and Jerusalem, and it shall come to pass in the last days, the mountain of Yahuwah's house shall be established in the top of the
mountains of Yahuwah's house shall be established where?
In the top of the mountains.
My God, today.
It shall be exalted above all hills, and all nations shall flow into it.
Flow into it. Shalom, brother.
And many people shall go and say, come you, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of the Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. We will walk in his paths, for out of Zion shall go forth the law.
Out of Zion shall go forth the law.
From Jerusalem.
Good. Come on back to Ezekiel 28. I'm trying to remember what it's like. Oh, there it is. Come on back to Ezekiel 28. We'll probably get to some of them thrones tomorrow. We got that. We got time. We got plenty of time. Let the Lord allow. Come on with it. He was in verse 14.
You, the anointed cherub that cover, and I have set you so. You was upon the Kadash mountain of Elohim. You have walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. You perfect in your ways from the day that you was created, till iniquity was found in you. Mm-hmm. By the multitude of your mercies, of your merchandise, you have filled the midst of you with violence, or they have filled the midst of you with violence, and you have sinned. Therefore, I will cast you as profane under the mountain of Elohim.
Tell them what profane means, right? See, this is what people see. See, he got cast out. Outside of Isaiah chapter 14, where's the other one at? Talking about somebody being cast out. In Lamentations 2:1, they tell you the beauty of Yasharal was cast out. So I guess Satan's the beauty of Israel then.
That's kalal, to profane, to defile, to pollute, to desecrate.
To desecrate. Did they not defile it? Let me just walk y'all through this here because I'm around here, right? And I only mention this here because this cherub is called a covering cherub. And what the only covering cherubs you see in this text on a regular basis is what? Covering up the throne. And what did this man tell you in John? That no man has ever what? Seen the Father's shape, nor heard his voice. And then let me read that to you while I'm talking about. You just stay where you at, Sylvia. You can get to Matthew 21-33 for that parable of that vineyard. John chapter 6, verse 60. Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard, said, this is a hard saying, who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, do this offend you? What and if you shall see the son of Adam ascend up to where he was before? It is the Ruach that quickeneth. I think I'm in the wrong spot. It's all good. The flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. Yahusha knew from the beginning who that were that should betray him, and who believed not, and who should betray him. Hold on, man. That ain't where I'm at. There it is. I'm sorry, I was in the wrong spot. That's my bad. John chapter 6. What this here, man? Yeah, my bad, y'all. 6 and 46. He said, not that any man have seen the Father, save he which is of Elohim. He have seen the Father. Now he said, no man has done it. Now remember, we know this from what? In Exodus 20 and 24, it said them people saw who, Civic? You know who it said they seen? No, it said they went up there and saw the Elohim of Israel and sat down and ate with him and everything. Come over here to John chapter 5. That's the one I wanted to had in my mind, 5 and 36. But I have greater witness than of John, for the works which the Father have given me to finish, the same works that I do, bear witness of me, that the Father have sent me, and the Father himself which have sent me have borne witness. You have neither heard his voice at any time, nor seen his shape. Moses seen his shape, though, didn't he? Now, when I read you this here in Ezekiel 28 and verse 14, right? You anointed cherub that covered, I have set you so. You was upon the Kadash, mountain of Elohim, that walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. What are these stones of fire? What stones of fire could they be? Well, when you look at the stones of fire, how is Yahuwah described in Deuteronomy? A consuming fire. Well, let's continue. He said, you were perfect in your ways. Give me what perfect is here, Civic. From the day that you was created.
That's how I mean.
So that's perfect. You was complete. You was morally innocent until what was found in you, Civic? Till iniquity. So when was the iniquity found in this perfect covering cherub? No, I'm finna show you. Give me Revelation 17 and 8.
You say the beast that you saw was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. When they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Go ahead.
And here's the mind which have wisdom.
What's that?
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sit. There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. The other is not yet come.
That's right, Omar.
And when he is come, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and of the 7, and go into perdition.
Drop down to verse 14.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, the waters which you saw where the horse sit are peoples, multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. For Elohim have put in their hearts to fulfill.
That's all right. Now you read in verse 8, it said those that were not written in the Lamb's what? Now go back to Revelation 13, right? I want to say about verse 7. I think that's got the exact verbiage that I desire. Revelation 13 and 7.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
Oh, so that's when the iniquity was found in him. That's why I say that. Because he was slain from the wind.
Foundation of the world.
So when Adam committed sin, right? Because guess where Adam was at? Was he in the mountain of God or was he in the paradise of God? He was in the paradise of God. He wasn't in the mountain of God. You know what I'm talking about? So he letting you know the iniquity found in Adam, slain for, because we have to be able to validate that statement, slain from the foundation of the world, do we not? Let's come back to look at this in 28. So, because you can't be morally innocent and then iniquity be found in you. That's why people think this the devil. I can understand why they would think that. He said, by the multitude of your merchandise, they have filled the midst of you with violence. Tell them what merchandise is again, because remember it told you in verse what? 5, that great wisdom and track of you have increased your riches and your heart is lifted up by your riches. See, I want to talk about that because we got something in Proverbs 13 to deal with. You know what he said a ransom of a man's life is? His riches.
That 15, that basically became a man.
No, he's telling that he's speaking of what happened into this covering cherub before it happened. No, because remember, he said this man wiser than Daniel. If you think Satan wiser than Daniel, I got some beachfront property to sell you, right in the middle of New York City. Go ahead, man.
Merchandise is rightful law. That's merchandise, traffic, or trade.
Trade. Listen, right? We already know that he said by your merchandise or your traffic, you have got great riches. Because remember, we are still talking about poverty. Remember, I mentioned the Proverbs 13:7. There's a man who have great riches yet have nothing, and there's a man who maketh himself poor yet have great riches. And we know that by his poverty, you have been made rich, because we were talking about the slack hand and the diligent hand. We just read in Proverbs 10 that said a diligent man hand make him rich. But I tell you that in Proverbs 13 and 8, if I'm not mistaken, that a ransom of a man's life is his riches. You understand? So when you look at that merchandise that he's trafficking, he told you to buy what, Sylvia? And do what? And also what? Understanding and instruction. See, these are the riches of a man. But see, these people thinking that how is Satan wiser than Daniel and got great riches, and his wisdom is increased by the traffic of his riches, by his wisdom? What wisdom does Satan have that's making him rich? Satan don't have no riches. Satan can only give you the riches of what? This world. That's all he got. That's all he can give you. He can't give you anything else. He doesn't possess it. So when you look at that, he said they have notice it said by your merchandise, they filled you with what? Wow. And he told you in John 15, if I wouldn't have came and spoken to them, they would have not had what? But now that I've spoken unto them, they have no what for their sin. So that means they ain't got no love, ain't covered their sins. You know why? Because they didn't get that coat of skins like he gave to Adam. He said, if I wouldn't have came, just get it for him. John 15, 23. I ain't got time for it.
If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had sin. But now they have no cloak for their sins.
What else?
He that hate me hate my Abba also.
What else?
If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin.
What else?
But now have they both seen and hated both me and my Abba.
You see how that worked? He said by reason of your merchandise, they filled you with what? Violence. Who fills Satan with violence? Because he's saying this covering cherub is being killed. He said by the multitude of, this is verse 16, Ezekiel 28, by the multitude of your merchandise, they have filled the midst of you with violence. You have sinned. Therefore, I will cast you as profane out of the mountain of Elohim, and I will destroy you, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. And your heart was lifted up because of your beauty, and you have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness. I will cast you to the ground, and I will lay you before kings, that they may behold you. And in verse 19, he said, know that all the people shall be astonished at you, and you shall be a terror. And you'll never be anymore. And he wasn't anymore as the son of Adam. But he was still the son of God, though. But we'll get with that in a little bit. What I need you, but give me Matthew 21 and 33. We get off here a minute.
Hearing of the parable, there was a certain householder which planted a vineyard and hedged it round about and digged a winepress in it. And built a tower and led it out to the husbandman and went into a far country.
Now, who he said let this out? A house who? A householder, right? Tell him what a householder is, man.
That's a master of the house, a householder.
A master of the house. I mean, it's the Lord of the house, correct? Continue.
And when the time of the fruit drew near, he sent the servants to the husbandman that they might receive the fruits of it.
Pause. Tell him what the servants is. Tell him what the husband. I know it's simplistic. This is for informational purposes.
Servants is doulos, a slave, a bondman, a man of servile condition.
Mm-hmm.
And the husbandman is Georgos, a husbandman, a tiller of the soil, a vine dresser, a farmer.
A farmer, a vine dresser, a tiller of the soil. So these are the people who's supposed to be actually working for Yahuwah. But the servants of Yahuwah are coming to requite what belongs to the master of the house. Continue.
And the husbandman took his servants and beat one, and killed another, and stoned another.
Didn't he tell you that in 2 Chronicles 36, they misused the prophets of Yahuwah, and they killed the men who were son unto them? This is what the scribes did to all. Remember, he said, you bear witness that you're the children of those who killed the prophets. Continue.
And again, he sent other servants more than the first, and they did unto them likewise.
But listen what it say, but last
of all he sent unto them his son, saying,
son unto him is who?
His son.
His who?
His son.
And they'll do what?
They will reverence my son.
Now notice, if the master of the house sent his son, that means his son got what? He got rule over all this stuff. Because I sent my servants so you wouldn't buck them. I know you're going to respect my son. Because my son is coming in what? My name, in my image, in my likeness, in my authority, in my power. Because everything I have belongs to who? My son. And that's what the parable of the, what do they call it? The prodigal son. Ain't he say the same thing? Come on with it, man.
But when the husbandmen saw the son, they said among themselves,
this is the who?
This is the heir.
Now, how these niggas going to turn around and say that this is the heir? Come on, man.
Come, let us kill him and let us seize on his inheritance.
They want to take it. And this is what Satan, and this is where you're going to sit back and look at. Satan want to take the inheritance of God. And he's going to try to do that through Esau. Good team.
And they caught him and cast out of the vineyard and slew.
Mm-hmm.
When the Lord therefore of the vineyard come, what will he do unto those husbandmen?
And they said unto him, he will what?
Miserably destroy those wicked men, and will let out his vineyard unto other husbandmen, which shall render him the fruits in their season.
And what the Lord told him.
Did you never read in the scriptures, the stone which the builders rejected, the same has become the head of the corner.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes.
Therefore,
say I unto you,
the Malkuth
of Elohim
shall be taken
from you,
and given to who?
A nation bringing forth the fruits thereof.
Whosoever shall fall on this stone
shall be broken,
but on whomsoever it shall fall,
it will grind him to powder.
And when the chief priests,
the Pharisees had heard his parables,
they perceived
that he spake of them.
And when they sought to lay hands on him,
they feared the multitude because it took him for a prophet.
He said, but how is his heart lifted up in verse 17? Oh, that's easy. The people thought his heart was lifted up. See, go back to Ezekiel 28 and 17. Tell them what your heart. It said your heart. Read the verse and then we'll show the word, because we ain't talked about this in a while.
Say your heart was lifted up because of your beauty. You have corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness.
Tell them what beauty is, man. It said your heart was lifted up by remember, because they said they didn't see any beauty in him that they should desire him. That would have said in Isaiah 53. They didn't see no honor, no splendor.
That's your feet. That's beauty.
You know what I'm saying? We don't. He said by beauty. Well, what is this beauty? It's the beauty of Kadash. They said your heart is lifted up. Did not the people thought this man was arrogant? He said by your wisdom you were what?
So you corrupted your wisdom by reason of your brightness.
Now tell them what brightness is. Because Satan ain't got no wisdom.
That's your fall, splendor, brightness, shining, beauty.
Don't it tell you in Ecclesiastes 8:1 that wisdom calls a man what? Face to shine. Now, where's the wisdom at when he said there is no truth in it? And it say to the law and to the testimony, unless they speak according to this word, ain't what in them? And so how Satan got light in him for his face to shine? You can't be disobedient and have the benefits of obedience at the same time. That's why people believe a just man can fall 7 times. Because niggas believe that you can possess the gifts of righteousness while being disobedient simultaneously. I don't know where they do that at. Your parents might have rewarded you for your disobedient behavior, but Yahuwah certainly won't. Because that's how people think. Don't Hebrews criticize Christians for this very thinking, but they think the same way. They think the same way. But we'll come back over because it's after 11. So we'll say hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. Yahuwah willing, man. We'll be back at it on tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got to rush through nothing. We got 8 more times after this year. 8 more times. So I appreciate y'all. I bless y'all the house Elohim in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. We'll be back on here tomorrow. And we'll do it again. And until that time, because I know niggas and y'all niggas probably look like you're hungry. Yes, sir, Eric, man. Hold it down, my G. Shalom, man. You know, check the community tab. Times is listed on the community tab. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. So, peace, brother, on my man. So, y'all willing until the end. Hold it down, brother Nate, man. Good night, Amun.